This shit right here. Reflecting Light by The Avalanches. The Avalanches, the fucking music makers of our generation. In so many ways to me, that statement is adamantly accurate. It is a bit too spot on. See, today is a good day for me because I feel a haunting spirit that for years I worked against is starting to truly leave me. It's beautiful how that works. To truly get rid of what I'd call best a supernatural element in your life that for such a long time has just whispered bullshit in your ears. And then you get to this point where you just get so annoyed, then you say, how do I fight back? How do I overcome the monstrosity that lays within me? And I'm becoming convinced as the last moments of my life have played out, as the following moments will play out, that what I've done for myself is create my future. What I've done for myself is create the beauty within me. I've let it reawaken. I've let it awaken even in so many fucking ways. Yet what created the maddening entity and its grasp on me, and why is it now lowering so significantly that I feel I can finally post something like this? See, life is a game. It is a game that is meant to be played to one perspective, and that is the perspective we have going right now. I believe that in the future, according to certain evil, nefarious beings that were meant to haunt us, in the future, life is meant to be played through many perspectives. That includes a four-dimensional perspective that looms over you and watches over you, and that is another part of you. I believe this is as per the narcissism, the psychopathy, the monstrosities that happen daily in our lives. It is clear that while some of us are amazing, beautiful, wonderful people, the world order is to fuck us up. Unless it is saved. Unless you are to save yourself, and you are to save people, and you are to save the world. Now that statement doesn't make sense to anyone right now. I know it soon will. But soon is a matter of how much time? That all depends. So, the fact that, there is actual silence around me. I do not mean this sarcastic silence that they used to motion forward while they speak about me in the background of things. I do not mean that silence. I mean a genuine silence I mean a forced upon silence. I mean a silence that I activated because of so many things that happen in the four-dimensional realm that already is affecting our realm. I believe I changed the world on a grander scale, and I believe it will not be known until later on. But I believe it will someday be known. And I believe, you know what the crazy part about it is? I think that was the sole way to actually heal myself from my schizophrenia. I think some beings from other worlds really fucking have and had it out for me. Want to see me completely destructed at the seams. And yes, let's think for a moment or two about how before we became the current fighters for peace and debaters for peace that we now are, as a traditional and nominal and expected movement within society for things to become more humane. Back in the Middle Ages, people were being tortured over fucking nothing. False imprisonment and torture, and it still does happen today, just not in the same way. You know, human rights have gone up in abundance for quite a long time now, but I want you to think about that past. What if a past like that could be prevented from ever happening again? What would that mean, you know? That's a really beautiful thing to me. What would that mean? And the truth is it was more than myself that bred my schizophrenia, that bred my troubles. In fact, I believe that deep down on a subconscious level, I've had my back, you know. The thing is while people always want beautiful things for others, the leaders, they do not. Because ironically enough, in order to fight for that much power, it requires being a poser. It requires forcefulness. It requires deviousness. It really does. And the game I played, okay, in my mind, because I've been playing a game in my mind for many years to free myself from salvation and to free us from the gates of doom, you know, and all that. And to hopefully free the whole fucking world. The game that I have been playing is a mental calculated game that generates outside of me but that lies within me. It is an incredibly, I'm the best player there is. I feel this so fucking hard. I'm like the main character in that bitch, you know? I'm the best player there is. When your voices are not afraid to tell you, that's without a smirk, that's without a laugh. A brilliant theorist. A maddeningly amazing theorist. A brilliant game player. How is there not heart in that for me? You know? Now, the world is... I'm just noticing some things about how, I'm an overly respectful person nowadays, you know? And I just let things be mostly. And that's what I have done with the schizophrenia, is just let it be. I've mostly just not spoken to it. I've ranted on the street actually a few times, or more than a few, but lately it's been a few. And, you know, I was haunted for so long that I grew to like the voices. I grew to enjoy the voices' presence. And sure, it was partially by falsifying them and creating them into a false entity, which is not what, which is not what was the most accurate, but it was a form. It was a fairly accurate version of things, you know. But let me just. Maybe that was better for me in my health, my mind, to get some silence, to get some rest. Because how does schizophrenia do nowadays? It works day and night and sacrifices itself a lot more than it realizes. And it is all to see me sleep. Because it doesn't want me to have motivation. But see, pseudo schizophrenia is an ulterior force that has no other means of attack. My mind is not doing so well, but there's another mind of mine that I have out in the wild that's doing spectacularly well. And it always would gravitate to and accomplish the truth. And do it spectacularly well. And I believe that the reason I've got so much depression inserted in me is because, well, if there is nothing apparently there, and then there is something apparently there, and that thing is working against you in some form or fashion, then the only thing you can do is conspire against it back. But it was such an immoral play all along. There's so much bad things that happen to me. So many bad things happen to me. It's unbelievable. But lately it was mostly just that. Depression. You know, like not feeling like doing anything at all. Like any inspiration, any moment of happiness disperses away from you. You know? And it's really sad to know that for so many people, this has been the habitual, I'm sure, in the past. Because it has to be the case. Because, well, otherwise it would mean a lot of things to me. Some of them would actually be good things, but mostly it's just that in order to create nefariousness that invades our planets, time would have to be a thing. Which means there would be planets before our own. If you think about it, if we have been fucked with from the outside, then it shouldn't be the first planet that we're on. But anyways, because I've doubted my whole argument about how we're like, there's been hundreds of thousands of planets before us, you know. So yeah. Also, there's a little thing I want to go into. And that is space. And I don't know anything about space, but I can tell you some general things that I'd like to share. But the main one is really, I think space is the most cool, beautiful thing ever. I think the fact that there's people that are entranced by it is amazing and incredible and so on. You know? To me, it has made the idea of our lives being simulated a bit more hard to swallow. But then I started thinking to myself, like, shouldn't a simulation that has the power to watch over people? Because you think about it, and anyways, I don't really feel like talking about it that much, but because I'm still kind of being interfered with. That's the thing. It's much less bad, but I'm still kind of being interfered with. But yeah, I love you. Some parts of what were in my head have colluded against me, have worked against me, and I've worked against humanity. And it's all been for the purpose of killing me and killing all your minds long term. And they're aggravated. Like, they're not just angry to be getting out of the situation. They're fucking aggravated, dude. Anyways, I love you. And, peace. I appreciate everything you've ever heard that I've said. Like I appreciate you being there, is my point, you know. I don't know if I appreciate everything you've heard, because I say some silly, goofy things, or I say some nonsensical things sometimes. But yeah, peace out. I love you, and goodbye. And the mass expansion thing, you know, like I suspect, like in a year I'll have in a year, because it's starting to get a lot better for me. So in a year, my mind will be doing like 100 times better, you know. The most it can do better will be doing better. Like in a year, I'll be a fucking cured being. In a year, I'll be dancing on the street out of happiness, you know. So yeah, I'll look into more down when I have an actual memory working on my side and all that. I'll look more into it now. So thank you. I love you, and goodbye.